So I'd love to start learning a little bit about the room. I know you guys are starting to tell us what your production is or how long you've been in the business. Who would be willing to share the reason they're sitting here right now and came to this class? Who could tell me what they want to learn? Yeah.
Well, I always see your listing, so.
You always see our listings, so you want to see what we do?
Yeah.
I love it, yeah.
I came because of Jordan.
You came because of Jordan? Go Jordan! I hope there's some other people in the room that say that, and because of Jordan. And there he is hustling out there. Okay, who else? I love that, welcome. Who else wants to share the reason they're here and want to learn today? What did you came here? Yeah.
I look for every opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
So anything I can learn from people that maybe have made mistakes, that already learned from their mistakes, so that I won't have to make the mistake. Any opportunity I have to learn anything, I'm present.
Perfect. If you came today to not make the mistakes that we have, you're in the right seat. Because that's what we're going to learn.
Let's rock and roll.
Let's rock and roll. Okay, let's hear one or two other ones real quick of the reason you're in the seat and what you're here to learn. Trevor.
Yeah, sure. Just trying to get some information on how to run my business with Schiff Happens.
Love it. Awesome. Thanks for being here. Would you be willing to share? What did you choose to come learn today?
New information.
New information. I promise you might get one or two bits of new information today. Hi, Lavelle. Okay.
I'd like to share, Jen.
Oh, of course. Hi. I'm sorry. It's so hard to interact, but anybody talk to me and tell you what you're here for.
I'm here. This is Anne Marie, and I'm here because I should have been here before. And now I'm finally here. So I'm really excited.
So Anne-Marie, for the people in the room, can you just give a little bit of context to the reason you're saying you should have been here before and you're excited to be here now?
Yeah, because I had heard of EXP when it was brand new. And people said, hey, don't do it. Stay where you are. And I did. And if I had moved, I don't want to tell you where I would be right now. I would be in Puerto Rico in a big, big condo. And so I should have. I'm excited to be here now.
There's no
It's never too late.
It is never too late. I love that. Does anyone else on Zoom want to share with us the reason that you're here today and something that you intend to learn? If you do, just chime in and let us know. Dan, can you just move up so it's going to be a little bit easier for everyone? All right, as they come in, awesome. Evan, same for you. Let's bring you actually right to the front, Evan, where I know you love to be. Dan, you too. Yeah, you can sit right here next to Kristen. Yes, it'll make it easier for everyone. Okay, without further ado, we are going to rock and roll and be nice to your fellow realtors as they continue to come in. And I know Ashley will admit those who join us on Zoom. So welcome everybody to Schiff Happens. Michael and I are very, very excited, as you can tell, to be able to share what we're going to peek behind the curtain of today. A lot of people see things from the outside and they don't really know what's happening on the inside, and they certainly don't always understand what it takes to actually make the things look good or get to the results, because what I can guarantee you, it is not initial action to amazing, incredible, mind-blowing results. So we're gonna give you guys as much of that as we can today through this process. As we started building it, we could probably sit here for 9 hours. So bear with us, and we really want to be able to engage some of the people who are in our world, who actually experience the things that we're going to talk about, because we know it's one thing when we say it, and it's another thing when the people who are experiencing actually get to share. So we want to be able to embody that today as we just go into the systems and strategies that we've been able to build to sustain multiple market conditions. I just want to open it first and foremost, and do we have the... So Michael, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and when you started in real estate?
Yep, sure. Yeah, first and foremost, want to recognize everybody for being here today, because the way we've grown our business is by being learning based and being in the seats that you're sitting in, and we're sitting in the same seats when there's more training available. So just give yourself an applause and a pat on the back for that. Because it starts with being learning based. This is a little bit of my journey here. Got my license in 2004. Started with a boutique brokerage in Baltimore, Simone Real Estate. And the market was probably as similar to what we just experienced this past 2 years, where we were in a strong seller's market. We had rapid price appreciation and things were selling very quickly. 2007, for many of you know, the subprime market completely bottomed out about mid-year, and it became a lot harder to obtain mortgages and a lot harder to just sell houses, where we had to refine skills similar to what we're going to talk about and learn today. Like if you were in the business the past 2 years, it was fairly easy to convince a buyer why they should buy a house at 2.5%, 3% interest rate, right? We didn't have to, they were knocking on our doors telling us that they wanted to buy a house, right? So we're going to engage in some of those conversations and scripts that we needed to learn and use as the market began to change. And same thing on the seller side. Was able to hone my skills from 2007 to about 2011 with YWGC Realty, which was a local independent. I grew to a single agent, about $12 million in production. And until one day, Jen and I were invited to look at a different business model of real estate, which we took the opportunity to do. And
Best decision you ever made or best decision you ever made, Michael Schiff?
right, both.
Both.
Best
There you go. Best answer.
I would say the difference was like I was flying by the seat of my pants for 7 years from 2004 to 2011.
How many of
And-
us feel like we're still flying by the seat of our pants? Yes, that's what we're here to solve
like
for
no
today.
systems, just knew enough to be a little dangerous, was still doing good business, but at the same time, like I ended up in the emergency room, which was kind of like the rock bottom of like too much stress, taking on too much, not enough leverage, and
No systems.
ultimately having like heart palpitations and stress at like 26 years old, which was not cool.
It wasn't. I was so worried about you. We
Yeah.
got life insurance the next week.
So from there, from learning a new business model of how treating real estate like a business, and bringing Jen into my individual agent business, we were able to scale. Jen was able to help scale this business from a $12 million individual agent business to a $25 million real estate business within 1 year.
12 months.
So that just like really showed the power of leverage we're going to talk about in just a little bit. We began to really double down and grow. So in 2015, the team, that was one of our top years at that point, 374 units for $68 million in production. We started a separate investment development company at that point. We expanded in 2016 where Jen and I were the regional owners of the Maryland, DC area for 5 doors. And we oversaw 6 different offices at that time.
Best time of our lives, let me tell you, everyone.
Lots of lessons from that
Lots
we're
of
gonna talk
lessons,
about.
so many gifts.
2020, we went a little backwards in our production, as you can see here, which we're going to talk about. 218 units for 66 million. We started building out the investment rental portfolio, and in 2021, we were on pace to close over 300 units for 100 million. It's when we made the move about a year ago today over to EXP.
And just to give a little bit of how my journey overlaps the Schiff Home Team's journey, while I've been along the way since day one, there's a lot of other elements that I've tapped into inside the real estate industry where you start to see that we first started and we co-founded the Schiff Home Team. And my first goal at that point was just to prove to Michael that we could start a real estate business. I knew nothing about real estate when I stepped into it with him in 2010, like zero. I came from the collections industry and I was a cocktail waitress for the past 5 years before then. So we really started at ground zero knowing nothing, and all I did was start attending the classes like you guys are sitting in today. And the thing about me that's different from other people is I'm willing to execute, and I have the mindset of knowing that until I give something the opportunity, I won't know what to do next. So I just started doing a lot of that. And that first scale happened where we went, that $11, $12 million to 25, and then the second year we went from 25 to right under 50, so we doubled and we doubled again. And at that point then I launched a staging business. So we've had a staging business, AJ Designs, that stages now over 300 houses a year, but it's did about an average of over 200 since 2012. So we've done a lot of things there. And then throughout this, when we went into expansion and we became regional owners, I had the opportunity to become the vice president of operations for 5 doors. And while I led that, what it really gave me was it started to show me what other real estate businesses look like. Up until that point, I had only seen my real estate business. And I had seen different people show me, like we're showing you today, maybe, I think we show it a little different, the way their real estate business looked. It was only me and my own mind share. So when I was in 5 doors, what that gave me the opportunity is we were leading somewhere between 50 and 30 expansion teams all over the country at one time, yet I was like a business analyst. So it was my role to go into these different businesses to see if they were a fit for 5 doors, and I would have to go into every pillar of everybody's business and analyze their financials and analyze their lead generation, and that just started to give me this intellectual knowledge that you can't obtain through your own business with one single perspective. So kind of popped out of that in that knowledge pool. And then, when we left expansion, I went on another run and started doing some stuff in prop tech, which then just gave me the consciousness and understanding like real estate technology, understanding how auction works in the real estate space, and really investment and off market. And then when we came back and we picked our head up, and it was 2020, Michael and I had actually gone back and forth. The first time EXP as an organization was introduced to us was 2017. At that point, we were still partnered with 5 doors, and Seth was looking at all brokerages. So he, at that point, as our leader, did not believe that EXP was the choice. So from 2017 on, there was a lot of different times where people would come to us, or we would look at it, and it really was, first I thought it was interesting, and Michael was like, no way. Then Michael thought it was interesting, and I was like, no way. And then finally, both of him and I got to the point where we were like, okay, we keep like banging our head against the wall, so let's solve what's not working for our business first and look at what we need, and then let's figure out who's gonna help us get there. And then when we stepped back and we actually looked at that, the EXP platform as a business then started to make sense to both of us. And so when we went and we got into the alignment that this is what we wanted to do, Michael and I went on about an 8-month run and had aggregated, multiple hundred millions of dollars in market share in the Maryland area, right in like March of 2020. And long story short, all sorts of things happened. It was like we told the brokers, everyone told the brokers. That was Friday, COVID was Monday, everything completely broke down. So we thought we were going to make market history. And every single thing we just worked for really was at a freeze. Most of these people, even including us, we didn't have high costs where we were. We didn't know how we were getting into the next house to sell. There are costs with other brokerages. And so the team as this big unit was unable to go anywhere. And I was not willing to give up what I had just created. So it was a very interesting time, and a lot of people really don't understand what happened from the outside with Michael and I and the team, and how, I was in EXP and he was in KW, and now we're both in EXP, and now we're both in the team. And what really happened through that lineage for us is that I believed in the model, I believed in the business. We had been stopped by an unfortunate series of opportunities. I wanted to go and create Manifest and start to build the network, and I believed that we had something, team or not, that could build a business. And so in April of 2020, I went and I gave Michael the freedom to just work with the team for a little bit in KW, and I went to EXP and started Manifest, right? So that was April 2020, not selling houses, not having a real estate team, not having any of the people that I had just built all of that business with, and I just went like human one. And prayed for the best and believed in myself. So that was really April 2020, and from that point, it was April 2020 to August, the end of August 2021, that I was building the Manifest network before the Schiff Home team actually came into EXP. So, woo! So that was a really wild ride, and all sorts of things happened. I mean, I consulted almost 100 different real estate businesses. We built over 100 different real estate systems for different businesses. We recruited like 68 people and VAs. That 2021 run was really wild. And so all of this is just to say, again, it's more mind share. It's just more seeing real estate business. It's more businesses that aren't my own that we're looking at. And then as Michael and I re-brought ourselves into EXP, and then we could work together in the team again, which is what you guys see now, we're able to just continue to refine our systems and refine the value that we provide in the network to everybody through really just the intake of the different experiences we get to have. So that's what we're showing you in all of this. The Manifest Network is just about to cross 100 agents in just 2 years, so we're super excited for that. The Schiff Home team, its first year in EXP, we had a 5-year goal to cross $100 million in volume, and our first year in EXP, the team was able to do it, so that's really incredible too. And we're just in an awesome energy. So today is really going to be about showing you guys again and peeking behind the hood of all of this sum of mind share and systems and strategies so that you guys don't have to make the mistakes that we did, because we make a lot of them. We still make mistakes every single day. I say that our success is built in our ability to work every day when things aren't working, where people are looking for things to work in order to take action. And that's not how it works. You have to know how to work in what isn't working in order to actually get results that are beyond mediocre. That's the difference. You have to do the things you don't feel like doing. So as we dive into this, and we really want to go into the lessons that we had to learn for the journey first, and then we'll dive into some tactical sides of it, and buckle up. All right, Mikey, you want to go into this lessons?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so I get asked a lot, like, how did I do it? And again, like from that outside in, it looks like it was like a pretty clean, straight line. And I think everybody in this room knows by now, success is not that. Success is built on your failures, and the higher levels of success, if you really peek into it, there's probably high levels of failures there. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, the failures, the lessons in it. But here's on a lineage of the past 10 years of what the production looked like. You can see that production, is gradually then suddenly from when it took off. We're able to double our first year, almost our second year, and then we started hitting little ceilings and little peaks to a point where we actually retreated in business in volume in units in 2017, 18, 19.
That's when we got out of expansion. So you see us exit expansion, and we basically had to rebuild our business, because when we were in 5 doors, all of our systems were given to another organization. And when you pop your head up 2.5 years later, you don't have the systems. This is us basically being right here again. So when you look at it, it's crazy what can happen.
Yep. Cool. So that's just a little bit of a snapshot of the timeline. And during these different timelines of growth and retreating, there's lessons along the way. So we're going to talk about those lessons along the way. No matter where you're at in your business, whether you're individual agent or on team, you can take this back into your business to be able to grow and grow, faster, and not hit some of those ceilings that we hit early on until we picked our head up and said, oh, we need to do this. All right. So the first lesson was leverage, right? How many people in the room are using leverage currently now in the business? All right, awesome, cool. And leverage doesn't necessarily mean like your own, assistant, EA or transaction coordinator. Leverage can come in all different forms, right? So my first form of leverage was actually a photographer. Jen will tell you that, and I'll tell you, I used to love taking pictures of listings. Call me crazy, but I used to love it. I enjoyed it. I had my own little, point and shoot camera. I would go take pictures. I pride myself on getting those tight bathroom spaces by standing on top of a tub or toilet to get that perfect shot. Come back to the office, I'd have over 150 plus pictures for a listing at that time that they only allow 20 or 30 photos. So then you had to go and pick the best, and they were all good. I didn't want to leave any out. 5 hours later, I finally got my pictures uploaded, and
Then MLS would break down.
and then they didn't have the save and continue. So at 1:32 in the morning, I couldn't save them, lost them, and there's a couple laptops that were just chucked across the room.
And he's like, babe, you should really be in real estate. Oh my God. I was working 2 hours traveling, 2 hours a day, traveling all across the country. It wasn't easy to get me into this business.
So leverage comes in forms of, early on, photography, staging, maybe transaction coordination on a individual basis. And then leverage started to come from hiring. And this is where our business really took off. Hiring Jen was my first hire, right? Against her will, we brought her over. I got her to a trip to California, and she was like, it was over her birthday weekend. I said, we got to go listen to this business model. She came out, with the exception that I took her to Malibu. No, it was Laguna Beach, not Malibu. Laguna Beach for her birthday.
I had a whole list of things to get
went to
me to this
Laguna. Right. Went to Disney out there. We had a good time. And within 5 minutes, she started nudging me inside this similar presentation seminar, and was we got to do this. We got to do this. So the awareness was there, and then from there, it was a matter of hiring a executive assistant, who Jen kind of played that role in the beginning, and then a transaction coordinator, which was to start taking things away from myself before we hired any agents in the business. So any individual agents, a lot of times people want to grow by hiring, partnering up with another agent first. And you bring another agent on, And the road to how we were able to get there was through admin first and operations, and then before bringing on your first agent.
It's so funny how you brought me to the real estate conference against my will, and now he has to work with me for the rest of his life against his.
That's true.
It's so true. So somewhere along the lines in 2011, when we started, yes.
Joke's on me.
Joke's on you, baby. So watch who you bring to those real estate conferences, everybody. Okay, so what ended up happening as we started to get the foundation down is that we knew that we needed leverage because Michael wanted to focus on listings, especially that he now had a photographer and a stager, and he was done with buyers. Jonathan Kirk, are you on the Zoom?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Johnny. How are you? I wonder if Ashley can get your face, yet at least I can hear your voice. So raise your hand if you know Jonathan Kirk. He's in this local market. Pretty amazing guy. Okay. Jonathan Kirk was the first agent that I ever had the honor to be able to hire, lead, and be in business with as we were growing a real estate team. Jonathan Kirk, how long did we make it?
Maybe a year.
Maybe a year. How many times did you tell Mike you couldn't work with me?
I don't know. I don't know. I think we lost count.
Mikey, how many times did I tell you we had to fire John?
Right. That one too.
Now, Johnny, what happened though from your perspective in your time with the Schiff Home team? And then it's so incredible that you're on this call today, and I would love for you to hear what brings you here and what our relationship is now, literally 11 years later.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how, we always use the term full circle. Both of us, I always like to say we're so early on in our growth period of really just raising our lids and leadership. And we got to really experience that with each other, which I feel is a blessing now, because I didn't have to wonder whether or not I could be in business with you this time around, because I saw the growth happen firsthand over the last 10 years. So once I did see things align, and I know I'm jumping, it was easy for me to just jump full in with all my feet and not even look back, because I had already had those experiences with you up front. But it was wild. Both of us had to go our separate path to go all the way around and then come back together again.
How many years did we not work together for Johnny?
Like 9 or 10 years.
9 or 10 years. Okay, so 9 or 10 years go by. You and I always stayed good friends. I always supported you and waved as you went from place to place. And then I launched Manifest Network, and we get to the end of 2020, and like, what was going on for you in your life and your business?
Yeah, so the pandemic had happened. I was currently at 100% brokerage here locally in Lutherville. And, I had already been with eXp Realty before and had left, because of the lack of support that I was receiving or wasn't receiving from my upline. So I told myself, I'm like, there's no way I'm ever going back. I'm just going to enjoy my 100%, just do my thing and just mind my own business. And then, the island that I created for myself just kind of felt like it was drifting further and further away from everybody and everything. And I was building a really cool disruptive software. And I knew that my real estate business was declining. So once I saw you move, I was like, no, absolutely not. Like, because the thoughts go into my head. I'm like, oh my God, of course she did. And now I'm like all worked up and I'm like, oh my God, Jennifer's there. She's going to absolutely destroy it. I'm like, this is like finally the platform in my mind that I'm like, she's been trying to get to the whole time, where there's absolutely nobody above her. So I literally just played it through my head for a couple days, couple weeks. And I'm like, no. And then all of a sudden Danny Cohen goes, I'm like, oh my God, here I go again. And I'm like, this is about to happen. And I called Jennifer. I was like, that's it. Let's meet. Let's just do this. Because I followed Danny everywhere. I don't know if Danny's in the room, but I mean, I followed him twice. I followed that kid into the fields of battle. But once I saw Jennifer come back with the alignment and nothing above her, I knew that I had to attach directly to her. And then there was no limit to the growth that I would experience. And just like I said, in the last year and a half, 2 years, I doubled my business, went from 15 million to 22 million personally. In 2021, my team did 30 million, broke into the commercial world, kind of getting entrepreneurial, building ancillary businesses while still having more freedom than I've ever had in my entire life. So it's just pretty cool to see how things come full circle and how I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people. And the right people above you is the most important thing, because if you can't connect to somebody that has things that you want, you're just going to be alone on that island. So that's my experience right now.
Thank you, Johnny. That's a beautiful, beautiful statement, and we love being partnered with you. And if you said the one thing outside, if we took the leaders away, if we weren't here, and there was one thing that you got in this world that made the difference for you, that's allowed you to double and continue to scale these businesses, what is it?
Well, I mean, I'm not being paid to say this. I'm not being paid to say this, but it's you, honestly. You specifically dug into my business and coached me and helped me reorganize, break the systems I had. I let go of a lot of people that I didn't need around me. And right now, I'm a one-man solo operation with leverage under me within my network, where I'm now in my strength role, where I can just do my own thing and really pour myself into all the other people that I deal with, instead of me running a high-level team. With you, I believe we want to run a very high-level network, where my one thing now is to pour into everybody that's in our network and help them with whatever I can help them with. So watching you focus on your one thing just helped me clearly get into vision. I was like, no, all this other stuff that I'm doing, I just needed to put the blinders on and focus on what makes Johnny happy. And what makes Johnny happy makes everybody else happy around him, because I'm a major producer. And when I'm happy, I'm just going to produce, without even really trying. So just staying in my strength zone, limiting my focus and not trying to do too much, and just focusing on what I do best. That's probably been the one thing with your coaching, with your leadership, your mentorship. And of course, Michael, he's molded me into the agent and the communicator and the negotiator. And I believe the person that I am and the heart that I have with how I operate in real estate. So I was very blessed and lucky and fortunate to witness you folks at a very young age, both you at a young age and me at a young age, and to just get front row seats to watch the growth happen with both of you. And because we stayed so close, it was so easy for me to reattach and for you guys to accept me in. And I'll be eternally grateful for that, because things just continue to compound and happen for the better since we've realigned.
Oh, Johnny, I love you. Thank you. And so, again, I didn't expect any of that. It was in practice. And this is the reality of it. So, again, it's just demonstrating to you guys, it's the first agent that I ever had the opportunity to lead when we knew nothing about anything, could watch and see how the systems and strategies that we're going to use and we're sharing with you can bring us back into relationship where people can have win-win. And John's one example of multiple people, and some of them are in this room, who we had gotten out of business and back into business together with in a different, no is not on those terms. So when the terms change, the partnership could recreate themselves. Okay.
Got it.
Thank you, Johnny.
So going back in and looking at your business and taking it from one point and wanting to grow it, we felt it was mission critical for us to have a vision and mission statement within the business. So in 2012, 13, that's when our vision and mission was formed, and that helped allow our business go from 25 million to 48 million. And on the screen here is our mission and vision. This has evolved over the time. Our mission currently, transforming lives and communities through real estate, and our vision to create generational wealth for an innovative team of top producers who are professional, driven, reputable, and fun. So we have our beliefs and our core values. We didn't have this in our business previously. And as we started to incorporate this into our business, we were able to make hiring decisions or firing decisions based on the fact of, does this fit within our vision, mission, and beliefs, right? In addition, we started to get our next lesson. Prior to this, lesson 3, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. Right? So lesson 3 came, we went from 28 million to 68 million. We needed systems, right? We needed systems within the business. I used to run around with a pocket full of Post-its and just scratch paper and notes, and that was my system and my CRM. And when I get home at night, I have business cards in one pocket and Post-it notes in another pocket. Anybody else ever do that?
Still does that.
Right. And that was a system, right? All right, there you go. Thanks.
There you go.
So from that, evolved systems and metrics. Every business, language of the business is numbers, right? So in order to have that, we need to put some metrics and systems behind our business. So this is what evolved from that. We have our daily metrics, our weekly metrics, and our monthly metrics. We have the team in the room today, and you can ask anybody on the team, like, do we follow these metrics currently today?
Yes.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
like sometimes to
an amazing, incredible opportunity for everybody to get exactly what they want in life at all times.
yes.
Yes, thank you.
What she said.
You got it.
So, like CRM, if you go back for a second, CRM from tracking and pipeline, right? Like just show of hands, people using the CRM in the room currently right now? Awesome, cool. Some great CRMs out there. I know different brokerages have their own incorporated. You have that availability. You have KV Core, whatever systems that you need. There's resources available in order to organize your lead flow.
We'll show you more in a few.
But you can see kind of the statuses here of taking your folks through the pipeline. 4 Disciplines of Execution, also known as 4DX, is a book that we incorporated into our business. And this came about from knowing that we needed more accountability. We were making these goals and commitments, and we were looking at them on a monthly basis. And up until 2013, we would like set goals for the team, and then monthly we would huddle up as a team and say, how do we do with our goals? And if we were behind on our goals and we get to the end of the month, there was nothing that we could do about it in order to fix it. So 40X caused us to look at our goals on a weekly basis, and it's called a WIG, right? A wildly important goal that we had, and we would meet as a team weekly to look at it. And we would each report on our commitments and our results. So what that might look like, agent may have made a commitment that they were going to set 3 appointments for the week. How did you do? I did 2. Okay, what are you going to do next week in order to set 3 or 4 appointments for the following week in order to close that gap so you stay on track for the month? We have our good friend, top producing agent, Evan Weissman here.
Evan,
I'm getting like triggered already. Do I have to report my numbers right now? What's going on?
on a scale from 1 to 10, how vulnerable are you willing to be with this entire room and the amazing friends we have on Zoom?
Like 9.5? 10.
9.5, 10. Okay. Do you remember where our first interview was in the snow?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Evan, how long have you been in real estate?
I have been in real estate for about 6 years.
Okay, Evan, where was our first meeting in the snow?
It was on Edmondson Avenue and like north in Edmondson.
Okay, were we really meeting, or did I find you?
No, we just happened upon each other,
Yeah. Well, if anyone who knows those areas and can imagine what someone may be doing in the snow there, you can only begin to believe that where we were in one time in our life was maybe not the place we are today. Fair to say?
It's fair.
Okay, what year did you decide to change your life, Evan?
So 2014, but 2016 I got here.
Okay, so 2014 you changed your life,
Mhm.
and 2016 you came into the Schiff Home team.
I did.
Okay, when you started the Schiff Home team, how much real estate experience did you have?
Little.
Little.
Yeah.
Little.
I mean, I did like some property management. I actually had my license in South Florida.
Yes.
For 2 years.
Uh-huh.
Great experience. I was with 100% brokerage. Like I
Everyone
made all
loves
the money.
that.
100% of zero is still zero. And I remember going to my broker at the time and saying to him, dude, like, I changed my status on Facebook, which was still new at the time. Like I posted on MySpace. Like I'm a real estate agent. Like I got business cards. So, but like my phone's not ringing. I don't understand the disconnect. Like why isn't my phone just blowing up? Like on TV. So what he did, he went and he got a phone book and he put it on my desk and he said, yeah, dude, all you got to do is just start calling from A to Z or go from Z to A.
Your choice.
And I didn't know much about real estate. Like I didn't have that much experience, but I knew there had to be a better way than going through a phone book and calling A to Z or Z to A, right?
And so 2016,
2016 came.
you came here with some properties management experience
I
and phone
remember-
book etiquette.
I remember walking around the pool at the apartment complex that I was working at. I remember calling Michael and saying, like, dude, I've got to do something different. Like, he planted the seed years before that. Like, dude, you're doing all the things that I do. You're just getting paid like a small fraction.
Yes, okay, fair enough. So when you joined the team in 2016, these wildly important goal meetings that we were talking about, did you attend them?
I did.
Yes.
I did.
So from an agent perspective, can you please just share, for a rainmaker or leader or someone who may experience, like what happened for you in those wigs?
There was a lot of sweating. There
Okay,
was a lot of sweating.
What was the
well,
reason we were sweating?
Because so, Jen, like bless your heart. So, bless your heart. No, well, like a lot of agents, when you ask a new agent how much they want to make their first year in real estate, like I can bet you 99% of the time they're going to say the same thing. They're going to say, I want to make $100,000 a year. So I said, I want to make $100,000 a year. No idea what it took to actually make $100,000 a year. Jen sat down with me and actually helped me figure out what I would have to do on a monthly, weekly, and daily basis to make $100,000 a year. It was something preposterous, like I was going to have to set like 10 appointments a week.
You wanted to do it with investor acquisitions, by the way.
Right.
So let's just
So
add
we're
into
talking
that.
about like, yeah, we're talking about like $3,000 less commissions, right? So Jen actually sat down, and it was something stupid. I was going to have to close like 150 deals in my first year, and I'm like, I can do it, right?
You can do
No
anything,
idea.
but you're not
Absolutely, but I had no idea what it was actually going to take at that time. So every week I would go in a week, like, yep, my goals this week were, and we actually had like a whiteboard that we would hold up. We wrote in what our weekly commitment was, right? However many appointments set, appointments held, appointments taken, under contract and closed, right? The 4 conversations. So I would go in there and I would say, my commitments this week, my commitment, not my goal, my commitment was to set 10 appointments this week. I said 2.
Bless my heart.
My commitment this week was to hold like 8 appointments or something ridiculous, and I held 0. And you know, I said I was going to take 5 listings, and I took 0, and I didn't put any under contract, and I didn't close any. And you know, every week, like, do you want to change your goals or do you want to change your commitment? Nope, I want to stick with it, and I would get like held accountable to those standards, right?
And so just to break it down really quickly, so people understand the mindset as a new agent that you got built that created who you became today. So what were the things that you were really looking at? Because you said it perfectly in like 3 terms in WIG. Where you're at. Okay, so
Where I'm at, where I want to be, and where I am.
what's the gap, right? So all this is really doing, and what that gave him is to always have the consciousness of where am I in my numbers? Where do I say I want to be? Who am I pretending I'm going to show up to be? Because that's what it is for most of us. And what's the gap between us? Because your current habits and your actions are going to get you what you're getting. And if you want something different, it's going to take different commitments. So that whole process, while it could get sweaty and not always the best ever if you weren't taking the actions, it was really set up to keep everybody in the transparency so they could get what they wanted. And it's literally the best production our team had ever had. Whether the experience through it or not was the most amazing thing. It is the ability to understand data and knowing your numbers and knowing that there's somewhere you are and somewhere you want to be, and at least knowing the map to get there. How you commit to getting there, that's another story, right? Okay, so this was you in 2016. What year is it now?
2022.
Okay, how many years did you and I play the I have a goal and I maybe didn't hit my goal game?
I think we played that game for like 2 years.
2 years, okay.
I think I might have like tapped out halfway through year 3.
Okay, so like most people, it takes many years to start listening to me. So for Evan, it took him 3 years before he stopped ever battling anything I said. So those first 3 years, you kept just doing it your own way, doing it your own way. Okay, what happened, and then what was your transformation?
After year 1, I think I finished with like 20-some transaction closed.
Which is still incredible for a year 1 brand new agent who I saw in the snow.
Right. So year 2, you're like, what's your goal going to be this year? I'm going at it again. I'm going to do 100. My conversion rate got a little better, but like, okay, so you're going to 5x your business this year. This is the year. Yup, absolutely going to do it. So there's a lot of pain there. But eventually, like, I got to the point where I'm like, okay, well, this is what I know I can do. Like, why don't we try something maybe like 1.5 times or 2 times? And I was able to actually like do that and grow my business incrementally. Similarly, I don't think it was 100%, I think I did like 20, 25, 30, 40, you know, and like was able to incrementally grow.
And then 2021, what did you close?
2021, I finally hit my goal.
Okay, that's amazing. Which was what?
It didn't take me 100 deals either.
You learn how to do all sorts of different things, right? Okay, so you ended at, what was your volume?
I think I was at like 9.5, something like that.
9.8, yeah, 9.8, 10. We'll
It
call it 10
wasn't
for him.
quite
You know how
10,
realtors do it. It was 10.
Cool with that.
And then what was it in July of this year?
In July of this year, it was like
10.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you see how, yes, thank you, everybody. We just want to show you that like where it starts is not where it ends, and there's not many of us here, and we're going to hear more stories that start and win. You have to start and learn and learn and learn and learn and win and scale and learn and win and scale. So thank you. You can have a seat there. But I hope that was helpful for everyone. And we're so proud of you. Not only has he doubled his production in 2022, yet Evan now does hold the highest sale ever in the history of the Schiff Home team.
Wow, amazing.
This is where it starts getting fun, everybody.
So, all right, so just to kind of reiterate back on this, so we're talking about a shift in market here. In the past 2 years, we've been able to kind of, some of us fly by the seat of our pants again of not needing to go back to our metrics, track our numbers, this and that. When we grew and we scaled, it was during the time of the market was still rebuilding. It wasn't a strong market at that point, and it was tracking our numbers. So just want to make sure everybody, we're tying back in that conversation. Like now more than ever, as the market is shifting, it is more important to know our numbers and to track our numbers. And if we don't know where to start, please see either one of us afterwards. We'll be happy to get you started. We have some really cool spreadsheets to back into your metrics and commitments. Lesson 4, leadership. So this was very important to us of like finding your wealth determiner. I remember being in a seminar hearing this conversation of the lattice and the rose bush, right? And the rose bush will grow as high as the lattice is, right? So if you have a 3-foot lattice, the rose bush will grow 3 feet. If you have a 6-foot lattice, 10-foot lattice, 12-foot lattice, the rose bush will go 12 feet. And your wealth determiner, everybody in this room has a wealth determiner. We all determine wealth for somebody, whether we, admit it or not. Even in 100% brokerage, you're determining wealth for somebody. There's transaction fees, there's some independent fees in that brokerage that you're paying that it determines wealth for somebody. And that's cool. And some of them, some of them are bigger and some of them are smaller. The point is that the person that you are determining wealth for, make sure you're getting an equal exchange back in value, if not more, for that person. Right? And we were able to learn these lessons when we went through expansion. We had amazing leadership and wealth determiners that we were determining wealth for, but in exchange, that's where we got our lesson. I mean, Jen will say it often, like we probably went through a Harvard education, like learning more about like business, real estate, outside of what you would typically learn in the day-to-day brokerage, etc. So it was just really important for us to grab onto that person. So if you have that person in your life, we all do, make sure there's an equal exchange in value of what we're getting back from them for that. That being said, during that period of time, from 2016 to 18, this is a lesson of where we retreated back in production and we learned about the Peter Principle. Is anybody familiar with the Peter Principle? Bruce, yep. Okay, so the Peter Principle basically is just this, that promotions are given based on tenure or a candidate's success in a previous role, irrespective of their capacity to excel in the new position. So you see this a lot of times actually in the car business where you have like a top salesperson in the car business and they're selling 10 to 15 cars a month. There's a lot of turnover in the car business, so you lose a sales manager and they said, you're killing it, you're doing 15 cars a month, we're going to make you the sales manager. Right? And that person is a salesperson, they don't know necessarily how to manage people, so you put that person in a managerial role. You lose their production because they're not selling any cars anymore, they're managing people, and as a result, they're not great managers, so they start losing salespeople, right? When we were in in expansion and we were managing other locations throughout Maryland and DC and Northern Virginia, we started placing agents in this role that could sell $20–25 million of in production, a year. However, they weren't the best managers of people. So we learned that as we spent a lot of time starting to hire and bring on new people in different roles within our team and outside teams. We saw this success, promotion, and then hitting the wall of failure. So we learned from that, and we learned about behavioral and characteristics of hiring. So we have natural behaviors and we have adaptive behaviors, and really finding the right key people for the right roles. And this goes within our business as we are hiring for executive assistants, as we're hiring for admin, taking a little bit more time than just reading a resume, sitting down for an interview and hiring that person, really getting to know their behavioral profile, And that could be as easy as starting with a DISC profile. Is everybody familiar with DISC? Right? And they're free to give them, or there's other additional behavioral profiles that you can give assessments for and really understand if they're going to be a good fit for that role.
This is the point where both of us, me especially, I really started to understand, like Michael's saying, human behavior. Until this point, I hadn't taken any of the leadership courses, or I hadn't learned metacognition or NLP, or I hadn't studied certain parts of Landmark, and I personally wasn't conscious that there was consciousness prior to 2016. So all of this leadership and everything we were running at was really on the same autopilot that most people are running on, just letting their brain do the work for them. And then in 2016 to 2018, when I had the VP of Ops, position with 5 Doors, one of the greatest gifts of it was Seth spent his entire life just pouring into me and making sure that I was educated and in the rooms and learning and doing all of the things. So I really came out of that with a whole different perspective. And Michael was a lot of those classes and lessons and learning too. So when we came out of expansion, we had learned how to basically have a $70-something million team with 3 agents, and we learned how to have a $70-something million team with 28 agents. Okay, so there was a big difference in what we learned in those experiences and how we were going to help people. And when we came out of expansion, we knew that the business had to be different. At that point, we had gotten through 2018. We had had a lot of agents who had come in with us and had left us because of compensation, because at that time, the split wasn't higher than 50-50 for anything at all, no matter what, and like, see you later. We knew that that was not going to work anymore. We learned that culture was the biggest part of everything that we were going to do, because we had started to develop situations in expansion with multiple locations all across the country, all of these things under the rainbow, and we started to accumulate a different way of life. And we started to make commitments to each other, because there was a lot of things that happened during this time that I wish, and I'm sure Michael wished, never were to happen ever again. And we had to figure out what to do next, because you could either in that moment let it crumble you, or you can look at the gifts of the situation that you're in and figure out what you're going to do next and how you're going to rebuild. I remember at that time in 2018, the admins that we had in this office, I was in the office early one day, and it was like the person's last day, and I heard him walk in, and he was like, "Fuck this shit, we're out of here." And he walked to the other people and said, "You better leave here now. This is a sinking ship, and this team's not going to be here for another few months." And I said, okay. So, just the reality of what happens with people and the perspective and what they see, it was a really low time in our business, because we had lost our identity. We had lost our business identity, we had lost our personal identities, we had lost our leadership identities, we just lost everything. And here we are, at our team and our business, and some of you guys are in this room, were there with us, not many, but you in the beginning, and you went through all of those things with us. And we just committed to being different, just like every other time in our life. There was not a moment in time that wasn't working that we were going to be like, oh, well, this doesn't work, because it doesn't ever work. And we're like, all right, what are these lessons, and how do we grow, and how do we scale, and how do we rebuild systems for ourselves now that are going to not ever have us look back and only continue to grow since, which you can see the trajectory, as we showed you in the beginning, has done. So at the core of that, like we were talking about culture, you want to talk a little bit about this, and then I can add in too?
Yeah, as Jen mentioned, we were going through a lot of turnover. You start out small, and it's a family feel. We grew big. We had 20 plus 28 agents on the team at one point. You lose a little bit of that, that feel and that culture. And we realized when we had that culture, that's what was, the secret sauce in the business, outside of the systems and everything else that we were implementing. So we went back to culture. We went really big and really deep on culture. Hence the office space that we created here, from a work environment standpoint, to the events that we have. A lot of our business is through SOI, which we're going to talk about later. And in order to create culture within your team, within your business, you can do that with your sphere of influence, by having great events on a regular basis. So here's just some examples of some of the cultural activities and things that we do, and creating a family within your organization. Gamifying our lead generation and our activities, right? We're in the sales business. We like to be competitive and have that competition. So we found that gamifying our process definitely helps us with team building and our numbers and everything like that.
Yeah, and really what we started to learn is everything that didn't work. So we had just seen so much it didn't work. And finally, you could get to understanding the roadmap of what did. I'm super proud to say that we haven't partnered with anybody who's come into the team or grown or as a producing agent since 2018. So it's literally as this happened and we transformed the business, we actually, in these things again that we're about to see and look at these next level systems and what we use to keep our partnerships and our business and our family thriving really did make the difference. Chris Mabe, can you actually come up for this one? I think it would be good.
Sure.
Okay, so raise your hand if you know Chris Mabe.
Yeah.
Woo! Okay. All right, well, we don't know what you do and you don't know about Chris Mabe. You're about to find out. So Chris, can you tell me, when did you get started in real estate, my friend?
5 years ago. What's up?
Okay, 5 years ago, okay, and where did you start?
A different brokerage?
Perfect.
Yeah.
And how long were you in that different brokerage?
7 months.
Okay, so while you were in that different brokerage for 7 months, how many deals did you close during that time?
Like 7.
7 deals.
Not bad.
Not bad, it's a great start.
Yeah.
Okay, love it, right? 1 a month. And then when did you end up partnering with us?
Like 4 years ago.
Okay, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So when you originally came to the Schiff Home team
Yeah.
from this other brokerage,
Yeah.
what were the reasons that you chose to partner with us then, as much as you can remember?
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Okay, perfect. He likes a good T-Rex.
No, but for real, like there was just like so many dinosaurs in that business. Like, this is fucking. I think the average age was like 50 plus, and I was like, nothing's wrong, anything wrong with that. It was just like, no, thank you. Like, I need some people that are like have the same like mindset as me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mindset, energy,
For sure.
all those good things. Okay, so you chose to partner with the Schiff Home team
Yeah.
about 4 years ago. So the first year you were with the Schiff Home team, what did you end up doing in like closings and
I
transactions?
think like 17.
Okay, so you went from 7, you did 17 your first year. What did you do your second year?
Maybe like 35.
35, so you doubled.
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay, what did you do your third year?
40 plus.
40 plus.
50 or so.
50 or so. And
Yeah.
then year 4?
82.
82. Doubled again. So, isn't that pretty cool? Round of applause. And how much business volume did you close in 2021?
25 million.
25 million. And what are you on pace for in 2022?
About the same.
About the same.
What
Pretty awesome.
what did that $25 million in production earn you?
It was the 20 actually.
It was 20. What did it earn you?
2020.
That Rolex. We're gonna talk about culture. Okay, that was our gift when he had $20 million in production. When anyone on the team hits $20 million in production, they get the Rolex. I know you were waiting for it. So what I want you guys to really see in Chris is obviously it's incredible to look at an agent who came all in, who came into the systems. You know, Chris, if you share just like maybe the top 3 things that you would say in our universe made the
Yeah.
difference, what would they be?
I heard someone say like learn from people that are doing more than you. I don't know who said that before, Patrick. But that's like the biggest thing is like they've walked in this path. Don't try and make your own path. Just listen.
And what did listening do, right?
Just listen and show up, and that's the biggest thing. Like any new agent that joins the team, I'm like, please listen. That's all it is. Like just listen and just go to the path. I was listening to Tom Ferry the other day, and he said people need to get dumber.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Love that.
Smart for their own good,
Just
right?
do,
Yeah. And
do
just
what
say,
has
okay.
been done before.
Right? So that was like one of the biggest things, like listening, showing up, and following the path that someone else has already made. Don't make my own path. Like he's done it. I'm gonna do what he did and do it better. Right?
And look at that, right?
Yep.
And so inside that journey, you've also been able to grow as a leader, as a mentor, as a coach, as a teacher, all of these incredible things. And a lot of this culture and what we do from like a team productivity side and from just the gamification side, you tend to always bring the most amazing ideas. And now you're really in that team leader role with us where you're almost in charge of fun. So can you just give, you know, it's one thing when it comes from us, but if you could give the people that are on Zoom, the people that are here, the perspective to understand the mindset of somebody who can grow and want to continue that, and the reasons and the things that they use that leverage them to do it. Can you tell that story a little bit? Because there's a lot of different pieces you take on, and you still go on vacation. I know, there's a lot of questions in there.
The mindset of like,
The leverage and being able
Okay.
to grow through and continue the production and take on those other
Yeah.
pieces and still be here smiling and
sure.
together forever. Nobody go calling Chris after this.
I told Jen, I will say this today, I don't ever feel busy.
That's the magic.
If you feel busy, call me. You should never ever feel busy. Like, I come from the restaurant business, and I would see those people that had like 3 tables and like, you're in the weeds right now. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I have 7. And I'm eating a chicken tender in the back. So it's just really about like time management and following your calendar and really just, can someone else do what I'm about to do and me go do something that's gonna make me money? You know, like a flyer or something like that, or like calling like a lender or somebody like that. Can our transaction coordinator help me with that? And then me go do something that's gonna cause me to make more money.
So you really lean on the leverage
Yeah,
and the systems
Yeah.
to give you freedom
yeah,
to keep growing.
for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
How about that, everybody? Round of applause. Chris could be up forever. Yeah, I could talk and, interview you forever. That'll be next. Yeah, just to start to give you guys a little bit of understanding of what these businesses look like for individuals and how they can double and grow. And then here's just a little bit of, more of that culture and manifest and the creation of all of the stuff we do so that we can build energy and we can build community, because that's what's making the difference. Okay, so I know that was a lot of really fun stuff. Are you guys having a great time so far?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let's keep running through. Okay, so the first thing that I want to start talking to, and I love when I don't plan it, but Chris started saying it perfectly. What we identify inside of our real estate business, for whether you're an agent in the Schiff Home team or you're somebody coaching or consulting or in the network, we're always going back to the same things, because the same things are the only things that work, and the rest of it is a bunch of distraction, and it's a bunch of emotional duress and all of the things under the rainbow that blame and keep our brains from doing what we need to do. Yet even when I attempt to have different conversations, unfortunately the conversations go back to the same place, because there's one solution and you all want to run from it. So until someone can stand up here, please stand up. I will give you $1,000. Tell me the way that this can happen that I'm about to share with you without these things, because no one's been able to do it yet. And so what we're looking at right now is this is the 6-figure systems flow, okay? And in order for us to guarantee that our agents will net 6 figures on a real estate business, so they're not grossing 6 figures, they're netting 6 figures, and agents on teams have split. So you have to understand what that looks like to be able to get into that route. We have multiple agents on our team that are able to bridge that gap and get themselves to that point when they execute these 6-figure systems flow. And what the systems flow has in place, Jay Korwitz is going to stand up and talk about real quick, because it has changed his life. Now, I'm going to help you here, but I just want you to talk about this because you're doing so good. Jake, would you stand up for a second?
Yeah,
Right here. Yeah. Okay, Jake Korwitz, my love.
Yes.
How long have you had your real estate license?
Since the end of 2018.
Okay, and where did you start in real estate?
I was Keller Williams downtown, the Metropolitan office.
Awesome.
But just as a kind of behind the scenes executive assistant, director of operations for a team.
Okay, and when you started wanting to sell real estate, how many houses had you sold before you joined our team?
Maybe like 4.
Okay, so you came to us and you had been in real estate, you wanted to sell, you had sold 4 houses on the team that you were on. You partnered with us in the Schiff Home team. What year did you partner with us?
March 2020, about 4 days before COVID hit.
Okay, March 2020, the best time ever, right before COVID hit. Okay, and what did your business look like year 1?
First sale being like end of July, closed 19,
Okay.
like 5 million.
Awesome, perfect. And then what did the next year look like?
39 for 11 million.
Awesome. And then this year?
It's gonna be pretty much the same.
You're gonna be on like that same pace?
Yeah, I'm committing to like 40 for 11 million again.
Uh-huh.
However, it's really neat. I mean, I transitioned from 80% buyer pool of business to 60% buyer pool to now 80% listings. So,
Right, so the business was, so would you keep a $12 million business 2 years in a row if it went from 60% buyers to 20% buyers? You sure would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, very happy. And that is to the advantage of the systems and the training and the focus inside the real estate team. Yet what you do, which is really amazing, and we're going to look at this here, is Jake, you work with me on every single part of this productivity flow, and that's how you build a six-figure career for yourself. So I just want to talk about it really quickly. I'm going to ask you a question about each one. Okay, Jake, if you could give one piece of advice to everybody here about planning, what would your piece of advice be?
First, plan to plan, so put it on your calendar and actually set a time per week to kind of set up. If you can't do a full week's worth, at least do, you know, the first few days worth, and then set up another time to finish the back end of the week. But I know Chris instilled this in us, but we plan like every Sunday morning, like 8 a.m.
Awesome.
So that way I'm coming into the week ready to know like what I need to do, what my intentions are, and know those gaps and what I need to accomplish to fill them.
Okay, and then when you go to work on that calendar, Jake,
Yeah.
what's the process of working your calendar where you're really using it? What do you have to do?
I mean, I look at everything.
Uh-huh.
I take about an hour to really look at all my different databases, read the databases, put them into my calendar, so I don't need to actually go to the databases when I'm getting into my calendar and schedule for the week. Yeah, I mean, it's really just breaking it down with like how many contacts I need to make a day, what my intentions are for those contacts, what the source is, and that way I can just go right into it, yeah.
Do you have duplicates on your calendar?
Oh yeah, no duplicates, nothing overlapping on my calendar. I even have like lunch breaks and like rest breaks like scheduled in, so I know pretty much what I'm doing until I go to bed.
Okay, now talk to me about that naughty pipeline.
So the pipeline is, I don't think I have any next, previous touch dates, so I'm always hitting all the contacts that are due for me that day. And I'm, I've realized in the past when you have 90 past due dates, like that's such a pain for you to like go into, and a lot of time people just move them forward to like get them out of that like past touch date, and it doesn't help you at all. Just make the calls, if it's a voicemail, text message, like make the contact, give them the next touch date, move it forward, and there's just so much more efficiency, effectiveness, and like clarity through it.
Yes, Jordan, can you stand up for a second? Thank you. Okay, Jordan, can you tell us what happens to an agent? How long have you been in the business? Year and a half. How long have you been with the Schiff Home team?
Literally a year.
Literally a year. And what are you on pace to sell this year?
23 units.
Perfect. And then what does your pipeline tell you every day? So let's say you're using it. What power does it give you?
To know where I'm going that day, who I'm talking to.
And what is the focus inside the pipeline of who you're talking to? What do you choose?
I choose to follow up with intentionality to set an appointment with my buyers and sellers, build that rapport.
Yep. And then once you set the appointments, how do you know who you're going to pen for the month?
I look at my numbers as far as where they're at in the process, who would be my lowest hanging fruit, who's going to pen first.
And when you first started on the team, were you amazing on your pipeline, or was there some opportunity?
I didn't have a pipeline.
You didn't have a pipeline. How long ago did I tell you it was time to get a pipeline?
Right after we butt heads.
Yes, right after the headbutt we had. All right, so we butt heads. I told him to have a pipeline. He said, pipeline who? So let's say it's 4 months. Okay, so you backtrack 60 days from Jordan being in a pipeline for 4 months, and this new agent who's been with us just about a year pended 9 deals in 6 months using this pipeline. So when we look at the tools of success, everybody, and the reason people get different results, it's not that we're out here doing anything or we're any different. We're actually using sales tools. Because guess what, everybody? Real estate, it's sales. Okay? So in order to be a successful real estate professional, just like the nurse, you don't get to pick whether you take the temperature, the blood pressure, or weigh me. You have to show up every day, work a pipeline, do your follow-up, look at who you're communicating with, and show up as a professional and a market expert. So the CRM, Jake, what does the CRM do for you? So you're using the pipeline tool, and then how does the technology help you, like the connections between maybe Boomtown, NetHunt, lead generation, conversion?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chris said it really well, like the Tom Perry thing, like I literally don't have to think about what I need to do.
That's the
So
goal.
I let that think for me, and I just see what it is and just do it.
Yeah.
So it really just makes everything so much easier.
As sales professionals, the best gift you can ever give yourself is pretending that you have amnesia and that your brain self-destructs in 1-minute increments from the stimulus you have in communication. Because if you imagine that you have amnesia and that your mind self-destructs in a minute, you're going to be forced to use a system to put the stimulus somewhere before you forget about it. And we think from our ego standpoint that having a memory actually makes you smarter, or having a memory makes you cooler, or you got this, or you have all the things under the rainbow because you have a memory. I'm here to tell you, every time you tell yourself that your memory is a good thing, your memory is lying to you, because it's the worst, most ineffective thing any human being can use to attempt to be successful in business. Every time you're relying on your memory, you should tell yourself, I'm at the least efficient way I could be operating. I need help. We're happy to help you.
Because the memory always remembers the bad things first.
The bad things, the things it shouldn't do. Yeah.
Over my whiteboard.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, some of my contacts in my database like look like I'm blogging about them. Like, I just will type a paragraph so I can just read it over next time I'm making their contact. I know where I left off with them.
I love that. Okay, and then tell us a little bit about follow-up, Jake. What does follow-up do?
I mean, follow-up is like the key to this business. Very rarely are you going to find someone, make quick contact with them and actually close on a deal with them. It's the consistency to continue to follow up. So again, start by putting it in your calendar, actually do that. And just doing it and doing it and doing it. And you know, I think a lot of us in this room have prime examples of texting people and calling people many, many times without them ever answering us too. And then that one time they're like, I appreciated how much you followed up with me and staying on top of me. Like, I'm ready to sell or buy a house. That's happened more than once, so like, don't ever stop until they kind of tell you to F off or call the police on you.
Yes, I love that. And then when they tell you to F off, you call them back next week and you say, I know you weren't having a great day. I want to put a smile on your face. How you doing? Right? So we just keep going, everybody. We are tenacious. Okay, and then is it over once you put someone under contract? Reggie Reg! Hey! Hi, is it over when you put someone under contract?
No.
So,
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
we're in the business to create like lifelong relationships and like build communities, like Michael said, for real estate. So I have like a set up plan behind all of my past clients, even like my close SOI, friends, family, referral people that maybe I didn't do business with, where I'm touching them multiple times a month, sending them gifts and inviting them to events. You know, I'm always staying front of mind.
I love that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jake. Is it helpful for you guys to be hearing this from other people's perspectives? Yes. Okay, so now we're going to get into the fun of the systems that we're actually using to be able to bring this to life. So this is really understanding the overall idea of what we're doing, and now we're going to show you the tactical side of how this is coming to life. So we believe that in a real estate business, there are the foundational pillars that you have to be able to work inside of to have a business worth owning. Michael, can you tell us what those pillars are?
We got marketing and lead generation, financials, growth, and data and metrics.
All right, and for time, let me just see where we are. I'm going to water ski through all this fun. Okay, perfect. So the first thing you want to understand is that every real estate business and every person needs systems. There's two types of systems. There are systems for your operations and there are systems for your behavior. Everybody's waiting for the day that they change, the environment's going to be different, or something's going to happen in which they're going to be in a place to do something, and I'm here to tell you that that day is not ever coming. So you need to accept yourself as you are, in the skills that you are, in the behavior that you are, and figure out what systems you're going to use to actually get a different result, which is going to require you to show up and act. If you're not going to show up and you're not going to act, you might as well just leave this industry now. The newest stat is that 88% of realtors sell less than 3 homes. So if you're not going to do the things necessary to live in that 12%, what do you think is next? Okay, so when you look at these breakdown of systems, you can see that we've gone on a system lineage. Everybody does. You start in one system, you go in another, you pop out of another, and this is just what that looked like for us. We'll go into a little bit of details of it, but you see that we always, from the beginning, started with the system. The first thing we ever used for transaction and listing management was Asana. From Asana, we went into Salesforce. From Salesforce, we went into 5-door Salesforce. From that, we had nothing, we went to Brivity. From that, we went to Boomtown and are now in NetHunt with Boomtown. So there's, again, a process, and we continue to build and break and build and break. So it's the best for where we are in the market and how we need to serve our agents today. There's a lot of different components that we start to use to gamify it as well that are important, because you have to make it look fun and you have to put an exciting spin to everything. So when you're looking at these different systems and you're wondering how you utilize them and what it is that you're putting into place for your business, it's again, how do you not think about what has to happen and you be successful? So So whatever system you're using, you have to figure out for my behavior, what's going to remind me to do things I don't want to do? What's going to keep me looking at my calendar so I can actually track my choice commitment? Because it really is a choice commitment you're working on, not a time commitment. We will always get lost on time. We will not always get lost in choice. And so when we're looking at this and we're paying attention to how do I develop it and how do I decide which component goes first, I'm going to run through those different pillars. Again, I wanted to teach for 9 hours on this, yet I'm going to dump some stuff out on you guys. I hope you got a few nuggets to bring into your business, and we'll continue to grow together. So first, you have to understand from a marketing and lead generation standpoint, this is a recipe, okay? Everybody's looking for the one thing that you're gonna do that's gonna generate the business for you, and if we're lucky, you might do it for 5 minutes, most of you do it for 2 minutes, and then you come crying that you don't get results, and then you go spend more money, and you go look at more shiny pennies, and then you take the next agent who you're looking at on social media did something, and you go scroll to the bottom and see what system they bought, and you spend $7.99 on that, and then you never log in, and you have a P&L with thousands of dollars lost, no action taken, and zero clarity. Has anyone done anything like that in their business before? Cool. Okay, so we're all on the same page. And what happens here is when you start to look at there's a real rhythm to marketing, and that combines in the fact that you have to have content, you have to have a cadence, consistency. There has to be some sort of brand recognition for yourself and your business that people see over and over again, because real estate is a front of mind game. Everybody's out here in the red ocean looking for the 10% of people that are available and ready to buy, sell, or invest today. I was in some fun data this week with a huge real estate team. The average conversion of first touch to pending is 225 days. Fun stat. So we take the life cycle from the time we first get a lead to the time it converts, and we're out here looking for the new person that we've never talked to before, thinking that that person is going to be our next deal, ignoring the system, ignoring the follow-up, ignoring the pipeline, and wondering the reason there's a gap between where we are and where we actually want to be. Did you have something you wanted to say, friends? Hello? Okay. Feel free to raise your hand again. And then on the other side, I know, Evan, this is Evan's favorite part, so he's going to teach a class on this. After you have some sort of identity and you have some sort of consistency, you have to connect, you have to communicate. Evan, it's your favorite, it's everyone's favorite. So you can't not be anywhere, you can't be not posting, not be marketing, not doing anything. Then you can't have no consistency and show up for life once a month when you feel like showing up. And then you're gonna hope that your emails are enough to make these people buy the $1 million houses with you because you bought the drip campaign. So what's going on? And then you're not willing to even text a person to say, hey, I'm thinking about you, and where's your $20 million real estate business? So let's start with looking at what we have to do. They're gonna fall on the floor. What we have to do, what we have to do to bring this together so that we can get the money, the connection, and the community. Because when you do all three of those things, you build a business that can sustain. So what I see a lot is people can run really fast once in real estate. Have you ever seen anyone have a $20 million year and then you never see them again? Right? And what happens is most people burn out because they're not paying attention to what they're doing. They just have a very high entrepreneurial ceiling, and if they don't look up and they just keep grinding, they can kill themselves, their families, their relationships, and post the beautiful picture that they just got the Home Snap Award. So we understand what everybody's running at, and yet when we really look at what's important, it's that you create something that's sustainable, that you create something that can do an average of 300 units over and over again for 10 years. And for your life, whether you want to be a $5 million producer, a $50 million team, a $500 million team, this entity and this unity is key. So let's just talk about a couple of these lead generation levers we use through this marketing strategy to be able to bring it together. So first we want to see that everything we touch turns to what? Sold. Sold. Okay, so how are we creating this world and where we know that number one, the belief system that we have is operating all of our actions. The actions are not always going to align. There's nobody in this room and nobody in this country who steps left and steps right and says, my cha-cha is perfect. What you have, the difference between mediocre and extraordinary is we continue to do things we don't feel like doing, and we continue to operate in what doesn't work. So no matter what, whether it's working today or it's not working today, everything you touch turns to sold. So when you look at that and you're talking to a seller, and we're talking about, since day one, Michael's focus has always been on the listing side of the business, and through all the different market cycles, and we have some fun things to show you, we've always led the business with listings. And so in order to be able to bring to a seller that you're not only there to list their home, because who gets to list houses? That's not so fun, it's a lot of energy and no money. It costs you money. We want to sell houses, right? And so what are you doing? What is your strategy? What are you showing that's differentiating yourself? Again, this could be a 9-hour class in itself, to look at a strategy with sellers that's a difference maker, that's going to show them that you're doing things that other people aren't doing, and that you demonstrate a customer service approach to the relationship. Because you guys are out here hunting the next deal so you can eat, and these people are caring about the most significant financial transaction of most of their lives. So you have to kind of bridge that gap in the level of service and the level of care that you give to people. And so Michael, let's talk about how you market-proof your marketing strategy with the way you have the conversations.
Yeah, so starting from like listing appointment. So for going back to like your listing presentation and being able to have conversation as the market is changing, it's all about setting expectations and communications with them. So you start with like the knowledge of the business, of what's going on in the business, and explaining to them, you know, help them get to the point. As we're going out on listings now, I mean, we can go out, you can take a beautiful listing and you can market it however the heck you want. And you know, they want to do more of this and more of that, you can do all that. If it's an overpriced listing and they don't understand what the market is doing right now, you're not going to get the listing sold, right? We're going to have conversations with sellers at this point now more than ever in order to effectively take a listing that is qualified to sell. So doing that by explaining to them, you know, the differences of what's going on in the market right now.
You have to be a market expert. Would you hire a CPA that didn't know what they were talking about? Would you hire an attorney that didn't know what they were talking about? Would you edify the attorney or the CPA even when they acted like they were talking, what they knew what they were talking about? Yes.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And you know, as you get to a listing that is priced appropriately, then when we talk about like call to actions of like getting that listing sold or marketing for more sellers, you know, you want to have some sort of call to action in your marketing that you're doing. As far as like market updates, as the market is changing right now and people want to know what's going on, you know, you want to have some sort of call to action to contact me so I can explain to you why now is the best time to sell your house. In addition, this is marketing for the actual listing. This is like going back.
You gotta meet the market where it's at.
Yeah.
So this is like meeting your marketing at the market. So one of the things that we talk about, and we were pulling so many things again, but just for time, we want to show you the difference of, as long as your message is matching what's happening in the market, you will continue to win. It's the fact that you want to stay here while everything's constantly going there that keeps you at that stalemate. So again, you're going to go, but here's some examples of how we were selling listings in 2015.
Yeah, and like keep in mind, so what we've seen in the past, you know, couple years, very low days on market, less than 1 month supply of inventory. Many of us think that's like a little bit of that norm, and it's far from the norm. And quite frankly, the reason that the Fed has raised rates so many times since spring is to get back to more of a normal market where, you know, properties sit on the market for 4, 5, and 6 months, right? That's more of a balanced market. Some of us here cannot even fathom holding a listing for 5 months, right? Could you imagine holding a listing for 5 months and having weekly conversations and updates with your sellers of what's going on and why your house isn't selling and what are you doing to sell the house, all that good stuff. We know price and condition come first. And then on top of that, for marketing to make your house stand out, when you have other houses that are on the market, we start seeing more competition inside different communities, and all things are equal, how do you make your listing stand out? So back in, we were doing this before, but this is from 15, we started like this.
We have ones in 12, 13, we can show them forever. Yeah.
These cruises were like $1,500 packages at that time. You know, inflation, everything like that. It's probably $2,500, it's probably $5,000 now. Who knows? I don't know what the cost of a 7-day cruise is, but we have a port in Baltimore, and it leaves from here, can go to Bermuda or the Bahamas, and it was $1,500. And rather than just putting a $1,500 selling bonus on a listing, which most sellers were willing to pay if they got an offer, we did a 7-day cruise for 2, which sounded a lot more exciting, especially to escape Baltimore and go somewhere pretty and beautiful. And when we started doing that, it cost the seller $1,500, but we started getting offers, and they had to be acceptable offers. So, you know, the inspections were, the terms were a lot better. When it came down to inspections, agents were willing to be a little bit more flexible in their negotiations, because it had not only to settle in order to get it, had to settle by a certain date.
So they were making it happen. I mean, we created sense of urgency with these buyer's agents like we had never created before. Oh, it was magic.
Yep.
But then, oh, sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, but then guess what happened? So this is how we sold listings in 2015, right? Well, look how we started selling houses in 2020. We weren't offering cruises anymore. All of a sudden, we're having quarantainment virtual happy hours for our SOI. We're literally showing sellers how we can do everything with them without ever having to see them or walk into the home, and sending this to them. So that actually allowed us to continue to work with that. We had to create a community of people because nobody knew what the heck was going on, and we were trying to provide some thought leadership so we would know how to sell another house. We had to start instructing people how to Zoom, how to do virtual inspections, how to do virtual tours. We were here having to provide market updates so people could just know what's going on, because we were frozen in a market and still selling houses. So when you just look at the difference of what happened from here to what happened to here, and then think about what the last year was like, and then where we're at now, you guys just have to catch up. It's always going to be different. You guys are wondering the reason that we're so stuck and that the productivity of each and every agent is going down so much, because you don't realize in real estate how quickly it changes. One day you're selling it one way, one day you're selling it another, and you have to keep up with the pace. Again, we're going to do some more classes and we'll go deeper, but I hope that's helpful for you guys to just start to see that. Okay, and at the core of all of this, we've known one thing since day one, and while we do have a diversification of our business, the majority of our business has always been rooted in SOI. And when we look at our business and how we treat our SOI, we know that that's the most important thing, and that comes first. So at the Schiff Home Team, how do we treat our SOI, everybody? 1, 2, 3. We shit on them. So here at the Schiff Home Team, we shit on our SOI. And the way that we shit on our SOI is, we show them love, we have meaningful conversations with them, and we track our follow-up. Okay, so that's how you relationship with, and you start to understand that your sphere of influence is the most important thing to you. So as we're shitting on our SOI and shitting on our data bank, these are the things that we do to ensure that our business can stay stabilized and continues to grow. They are things like social contests, events, gifting, pop-bys, everything under the rainbow. You can start to just see some examples of the way we consistently create community. And when you're looking at lead generation and you're looking at marketing, these are the things, whether big or small, whether you're connecting or collecting socks, whether you're doing an online game, whether you're bringing community together and hosting an event, you just have to show people you care. When somebody texts you and says, hey, I was thinking about you, how does that feel for you? Does that feel good? Do you like to have someone be like, hey, I was thinking about you? Some of you don't, most of you do. Okay, what happens when you get a handwritten card, or you get a, what are those beautiful things? A card in the mail, not a note card, but just like a regular card in the mail. How do those things feel to you? Yet for us, when we're looking at how we want to grow business, how often do you guys think that you have to care about people every day? Is that what you're worrying about in your real estate business? How do I care? It really usually isn't. And when you do that, Patrick, stand up. Patrick, how long have you been in real estate?
Since the end of summer 2019.
End of summer 2019, okay. And where did you start?
I started at a brokerage called Remax Preferred.
Okay, a brokerage called Remax Preferred. And then how long have you been in business with the Schiff Home Team?
This is my 7th week.
Okay, and in your 7th week, Patrick, how many transactions have you pended?
6.
6. So we've been here 7 weeks. We've pended 6 deals. It was 6 weeks, 6 deals.
Right.
And you have really come in and taken full advantage of what we've created in culture and community. Can you just quickly, Patrick, share with the room and Zoom what all of this does for someone like you?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay,
Thank you
go
for the opportunity.
Of course.
So, can I have the question one more time?
Yeah,
The
so
question?
just the difference, so before you were here, now that you're here, 7 weeks, 6 deals, the culture, the community, the events, what have you done with your SOI to help you? How did you?
Oh my God, most
Yes.
definitely, sure.
There we go.
A
Let's
lot
do
of
it.
things. Number one, systems. The systems that are in place here are not beatable. They win, period, if you use the systems, which I do. All of my time in real estate, I never used systems. I never followed up. I actually still did pretty well. I was still closing about 20 deals a year, but now there is no ceiling. And also the energy. Like, I walk into this office, everybody's on the phone, everybody's talking, everybody's setting appointments. The energy is huge here. And then there are people that have tons of experience here. Everyone is so helpful. Here's what to do. Here's what works. So those are just a few things right off the top of my head.
Patrick, when we say what to do and what works, do you listen or do you not listen?
I listen.
He listens. You see that? So Patrick shows up, he takes consistent action, and he listens, and Patrick ended 6 deals in 6 weeks. So the possibility, once again, everyone, is right there for you. Thank you, Patrick.
You're welcome.
Here,
Thank you.
yay!
Yeah.
So here's a quick example just for you guys. If you're someone who's not touching your SOI, you can take a quick picture. Here's easy ways to start touching. So here's tactical ways to take what I'm showing you, and you just take action immediately. These things are amazing from us, but here's the way that you do it too. Now, if you're somebody, the question is, oh, did you get it? I'm sorry, go ahead. I got it. You know, I'm so patient. Okay. So when you look for yourself, again, this is about meeting yourself where you are. We're demonstrating this for you guys so you guys can see possibility. We're demonstrating this for you so you understand that there's a way of life that you can live, and whether you're a business builder who have agents on your team, whether you're an agent who wants to grow a team, or whether you're a realtor who just wants to be the best that you can be, or even survive in this market right now, it's really understanding that you have to meet yourself where you are. We are each our own snowflakes. We are each unique. Nothing that any one person is doing is going to be the same as someone else, and you've got to figure out what's next for you. So when you look at SOI, here's a great way to break that down. If you've never contacted your SOI, here's where you should start. If you contact them on holidays, start calling them every month. And if you contact them consistently, start doing things in present place, events, Popeyes, connection that'll take it to the next level. Here are some different ways that you can peak your sphere. Again, if you want to pop a picture, I don't have time to go deep. We just have to water ski through. But these are just different ways that it's simple, it's free, and it's easy for you to build connection. When you look at the internet side of things, and you look at internet lead generation, these are some of the foundations that we've used in our business. And the systems that we use around follow-up and tracking the different components of it is really what makes it work. So we just want to show you guys examples of how these automated systems drive results, because communication can occur, follow-up can happen, and you can get closings. Same thing as like what? Yes?
We have a question in the chat.
Oh, I love questions. Hi, question. How are you?
The question is, how do you get those agents on the phone and calling? And what if our SOI isn't able to purchase or sell right now? What can we do?
Okay, if you're on the Schiff Home team, can you stand up? Perfect. Okay. Dan, what gets you on the phone calling every day? Say it loud so people can hear you.
The energy in the room when I show up to work.
Okay.
And coffee.
And coffee, okay. The energy and coffee. Lamont, what gets you connecting with people on a daily basis?
I hit numbers.
You want to hit numbers? Yeah, because what are numbers going to get you? Appointments, held, signed, closed, and what does closed give you? Money, and what does money give you? Provide for your kids. How about that? So Lamont does it to provide for his kids. Evan, what makes you get on the phone and show up every day?
Similarly, wealth determiners and fear of a conversation with Jen if I don't.
Love that. That's the truth. Evan actually wants to hold the class. He said yesterday how to win with Jen. Jordan, what makes you dial every day?
Off of that. Keep Jen away, right?
They say an appointment a day keeps Jen away.
It is true. We're in good standing. So that and my goals in life, where I want to go, and real estate is my engine.
You're clear on your goal, and we're clear on helping you get there, and you know how to get there, so you show up because the clarity gives you the empowerment to go. Chris, what's the reason that you show up every day?
You already know the answer.
Tell us anyway, because they don't.
Dollar bills.
Dollar bills. So Chris shows up for money because money gets you what?
Happiness.
happiness. And then happiness comes from something bigger. Fair enough to say?
For sure.
Yes, something that Chris can do that nobody else has been able to do around him. Fair enough? Very cool. Patrick, what's the reason you show up every day and choose to dial?
I set goals, and picking up the phone, it allows me to meet the goals I set.
Perfect. Jake?
I'm for financial freedom and to prove that like all the hard work my parents put into me as a child has paid off for them.
Oh, so you do it for them. That's incredible. Oh, I love you. Scotty.
You have to build and flourish in a real estate career.
Yes,
Make money.
you want a stable career, right? That's the reason you keep doing it. Okay, hopefully that was helpful, whoever asked that question. What was the second question, Ash? Thank you, guys.
The second question was, what if our SOI isn't able to purchase or sell right now? What can we do?
So let's ask, who heard how many days it is from the time you touch someone to the time that they're ready?
220.
So you touch them 225 days and then come back and let me know what happens.
I got plenty of people that have bought a house with me and referred me to other people.
Of course, there's referrals, there's allied relationships. So the question, don't tell me who asked it, but the person who asked the question, what you really need to look at is the fact that only 10% of your business is going to be now, and 90% of it is happening in follow-up sequences that come between the 5th and 12th contact. And let's just use the average of 200 to 300 days from first contact to conversion. So what you have to understand is the majority of your SOI is not actually ready now. They may know people who are ready now. You may engage them in something. Perfect opportunity. I talked to somebody, they told me that they were running to their storage bin, and I said, oh, what are you doing there? They say, I keep this, I keep that. I said, oh, wow, that sounds expensive, a lot of stuff in there. She's like, yeah, $700 and something a month. I'm like, hey, have you ever considered purchasing some sort? Yeah, I went, that just happened to me last week. Have you ever considered purchasing a commercial space that maybe you can keep this stuff in for free, that has a tenant, that's cash flowing, and no, that's a great idea, yada, yada, under contract, 1 week. Okay, so the conversations you can have with people, if you actually choose to care about the human and care about where they're at and what's going on in their life, and not your agenda to get an appointment or hang up if you don't smell the money, is the way that you succeed. Yes?
Do you use a system that updates your clients on specific areas they like on new listings? Basically, like if a new house goes on a listing platform, then the client would automatically get a message, update, just to show them that you care.
Of course. HomeBot's really fun for that, so that's one thing. But you can just do it on like even Bright, just regular searches. So the most basic free thing is you can actually go on the MLS and do it. And so
Well, I'll
yeah.
take it one step further,
Yeah.
because we set a lot of our clients up on automated searches, right? And
Yes.
they go out daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it is.
Yes.
However, it's our job to monitor that search, and then when we see something that fits their criteria, that's where we either pick up the phone, send them a text message, and make sure that they saw it. Because let's be honest, like, we know they're automated services. I think the client knows at that point as well, as much as you want to tell them, I'm going to set you up on this customized search. But like the interaction comes from like picking it up, and it may not be the one for them, but they see you're looking at it, engages in that conversation, that's a touch, and moves the ball forward.
Okay, awesome. So they have a little saying that when we say it, you hear it, and when you say it, you believe it. So can everyone stand up, please? And if you are on Zoom, please stand up as well. Okay. So we are all going to read together at the count of 3 this beautiful thing right here that says the importance of follow-up. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. The importance of follow-up. 2% of all sales are made on the first contact. 3% of all sales are made on the second contact. 5% of all sales are made on the third. 10% of all sales are made on the fourth. And 80% of all sales are made between the 5th and 12th. Be consistent. Woo! How about that? Isn't that magic? Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
For every $88 spent on leads, $1 is spent on conversion, everybody. Guess who doesn't need more leads? Nobody needs more leads. We all need to just be able to go deeper in the relationship. This is, oh, sorry, I know we get us all excited. It's all the energy. Okay, this, thank you, Chris, because he's like makes up all the fun things for me. So this is the mom text, the meme of the moment. Memes are something that we love to do with our SOI, that we find every which way under the rainbow to be able to connect with them. Every single day of the week, there's something you can meme people with. The best memes to use are when everybody's not, hey, it's Christmas, everybody do it, but you do it on the odd times. And we have so many results where literally we just send people memes and they're like, we need to buy, we need to sell. We have 23 acres, we have a lot, we have this. We do nothing except for send memes and put together that marketing strategy of them seeing us on social, of us being front of mind in other places, on having those follow-up systems, and all you have to do is send a picture and they're telling you they're gonna buy and sell with you. It's pretty awesome. So what you want to ask in this last set of marketing and lead generation is when we take all of these components and we bring the social media into this, because that's the place and where the platform where the most people can see us every single day for free, the first question you want to ask yourself is, what are you showing people online about who you are becoming? Okay, so when I say who you are becoming, does anyone even want to throw their hand at what I'm saying we should be doing on social media?
Like acting like the real estate agent that you want to be.
There you go. Yeah, go ahead.
Making sure that you're putting a professional platform so people take you serious and can trust you making the biggest purchase of their life or selling their homes.
Oh my God, I love it. Who else? Do you want to add anything? Yeah. Yeah, Jake.
I mean, for a big thing for like switching my business is I had to stop marketing as much to my buyers. Like I'm marketing a lot of buyer information stuff. I started marketing listing agent information and for sellers, and like that's what came to me.
There you go. So when you change the conversation, what attracts to you also will transform. Uh-oh. And so does this. Did I lose it? Dun dun dun.
Is that it?
No. No.
You gotta click on it if there's any more.
Okay, so just remember, Michael mentioned this a little bit before in the listing process, but the most important thing you can understand with your social media campaigning, and I know we're water skiing through it, it's your call to actions. So you can post and you can post and you can post and you can post, but if you're not having a clear call to action, some sort of embedded command in the marketing material that requests or invokes something from another person, and you're not then either DMing or reaching out or connecting, it's really challenging to be able to get what you want. So here's a bunch of call to actions. You can take a picture really quickly that you can start to use that will really help take the content and copy to the next level. Okay, and just remember, Michael, you love to talk about this.
Marketing using video versus relationshiping and using video. So yeah, so as we're talking to like where things are going nowadays, it's no secret that video is taking over, right? I believe some of the stats you may have over here, like TikTok has more hours of consumption than YouTube does now, and you know YouTube has over 1.9 billion users, and like billions of hours combined collectively a day are being watched on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. So we're seeing like a move to video, and it's like, you know, some of us are very uncomfortable with that because, you know, it's pretty real, and quite frankly, that's why video has been so adaptive, and even live videos, because you can edit a picture, you can fake a moment in like a still, but in video, there's a higher level of authenticity that comes within video, and that's what your clients want. Your clients want the authenticity. They don't want everything too picture perfect. They're not too picture perfect, right? That can be intimidating to them. They want to see your true and authentic self, and video is one of those ways to be able to communicate that, to build relationships through that. And we will be missing the mark if we're not getting on board with video. So we're sitting in our seats and we're saying, you know, I really don't want to do it. You know, I'm going to build my business outside of video. Is it possible? Potentially. However, as soon as we can get on video, it's a front of mind game. We can get front of mind and be able to communicate to our sphere, whether it is through something that is real estate related market updates, or, you know, having fun, as you may see with, you know, different reels or TikToks, to be able to like show your personality. People want to see the true and authentic you.
Yes. Brandy Davis.
Yes.
How long have you been a real estate agent?
Since the beginning of 2019.
Since
Oh,
beginning?
not the beginning, since December of 2019.
December of 2019. And then how long ago did you partner with the Manifest Network?
I want to say in August.
Okay, in the beginning of August. In the beginning of August, how many video reels had you put onto social media?
I don't think I had any.
She had 0. And in 3 reels and a little bit of direction, Brandy had 150,000 views on 3 reels in 1 week. How else were any of you getting 150,000 eyes on you? Does anyone have any ideas?
Pay a lot of money.
Right.
Brandy, how much did that cost you to do?
It didn't cost me anything.
Pretty cool. Brandy, how long did it take you to actually create the content to get your 150,000 views?
Because I'm a mom, and I'm very like, let's go, let's go, let's go. It may have took us less than like 15 minutes.
15 minutes. And then your biggest thing was like, could you come into your own identity? Could you be yourself? Could you use video? Could you do all these things? Could you create your own appointments? Could you build your own business? Did you pen the deal?
I did.
Yes, there you go. And do you continue to pen and grow? You do. And look at that. So just a perfect example. 0 video, 3 videos, 15 minutes, 150,000 eyeballs on Brandy. Here's another example of where new agents can use this to be able to share the results. 76 likes, 29 comments, 4 shares. This is Jordan. He's been in real estate less than a year with us, and he's using social media to be able to build his business. Every single time Jordan sees somebody on the streets, they tell him, wow, you're killing it. Right? So it's really cool. All right, so I'm going to go from marketing and lead generation. I'm going to go to the next pillar real quick, and I'm going to hit financials. You ready? So the first thing is that this is how leaders show up around financials. So who can raise your hand if you know what your gross and net profit is as a real estate agent or in your real estate business right now? Okay, very few of us. Awesome. So who could guess that you may benefit if you have that information? Yes. Okay. Now, would anyone be really willing to be vulnerable and share maybe the reason you don't fully know what that number is or what that looks like for you?
Tracking
I don't have any
expenses.
clients. Tracking? You don't have clients? All right. So what about tracking?
Just tracking like marketing expenses. All the things you can write off, gas, marketing.
Takes time,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Okay, so I just want to share with you guys 3 non-negotiable systems you may want to implement in your business when it comes to financials. One of them is real-time visibility to your company dollar. If you're a single agent, your company dollar is your gross commission income minus your expenses, and if you're a business owner, your company dollar is going to be your gross profit after your agent splits and any brokerage fees. So you want to know at all times the health of your business based on company dollar, because company dollar is actually the only number that matters. You can look at units and you can look at GCI all day long, and it's not actually going to give you a true picture. It's like staring at the map and looking at Hawaii and then going outside to walk there, right? So you're not going to be able to put those pieces together. You really need a P&L that's reflective of the total gross commission income in your business. Most real estate agents, either their accountants or themselves, are lazy. And when you look at your P&L starts at your gross profit, which means you don't see what it was on the sales price of your home times the commission. You're seeing what netted into your bank account. So therefore, you're completely blind to how much your broker took. You're completely blind to how much referral fees you took out. You're completely blind to your 100% brokerage and how much fees they took, which is even more than a brokerage that has a split on it, because you're just seeing a gross profit number and you think you got it going on. It's not the case. I really recommend everybody get to understanding a P&L that shows your true gross commission income. The other thing is you want to have systems like you talked about tracking for your transaction management, whether it's you doing it yourself or someone else doing it, where systems and tools connect this data so you're not there having to track and put it together. We have some pretty advanced systems in our Schiff Home team, and yet I just want to show you guys the transparency that whether it's in a spreadsheet or whether you take a picture of this and your business looks like it one day, until you see this, you don't see everything. And when you look at this breakdown, what we're showing you is we can see our agents at all times based on how many closed units they have year to date, how many they currently have pending, where they are in closed volume, where they are in pending volume, total, and then across here from a financial standpoint, we can see their closed GCI, their pending GCI, total, closed company dollar, pending company dollar, and total company dollar at all times for all agents. And that's how we can run and stabilize a business. Now, when you don't have this information and you're just shooting blind every single day, you're giving your best, but your best doesn't equate to any type of preparation in order to be able to get there. Is that helpful? So the first thing you have to know is your numbers. And whether they're on your hand or on a spreadsheet or on a piece of paper or on this automated system, please make sure you know the numbers. The next thing we're going to go into in those pillars is growth. So in order to grow, here's my cemetery of dead bodies. So this was necessary in order to create and figure out what to do. We have gone through a lot of human beings to be able to understand the behavior game of how to win with people. And if you're not getting enough at-bats to go through people that don't work, and you're here pretending like there's some reason that you're the person who's supposed to do all these things in the world, and there's no one who can leverage you, and you continue to be in that space that doesn't help, you just need to go bury some bodies, in all honesty, because the only way you're ever gonna understand or you're gonna know what works and doesn't work is you get the experience. We were about 68 admin, and we counted like 70-something agents in the last 10 years. That's a lot of people to go through between what we did in 5 doors and our team to start to show you guys the stuff that actually works. It's not because we think it works and it's our opinion, it's the things that actually show up. So they say that when you're growing that you can't motivate someone. You can't motivate someone, you can only motivate them, AID. And what that means is that part of these learning lessons is that we had to spend all this time dragging people to the floor who didn't want to show up to life. And we couldn't figure out what new system or what new activity or how much money we could throw at them and how many smiles or how much positive energy or how many gifts or parties or things that we could do that would maybe just get them to wake up and act. And we realized that it was actually a type of human that we needed to surround ourselves with if we were going to get that result. So Michael, what is that motivated human and really like the chemistry of that individual?
Yeah, it's finding somebody that has, a bigger why, bigger purpose, to show up for. You can see, has somebody that's gonna have a win or learn mentality, right? Somebody that's not negative and not playing, if they lose, then they don't learn. They desire accountability. Some people that run from accountability, we learn those lessons along the years. They produce results, they're fueled by feedback, they see clarity and show up without asking. Yeah.
And when you go back here and you look at how do you take those individuals and they create the composition of a healthy organization, there's all these pieces that you have to put together. It's the vision, it's the core values, it's the cross-company communication. We have to lead with data. We have to have those beliefs and perspectives in place. That mission, standards, people, processes, systems, expectations, all of this creates the healthy organization. And as you can see, this is the recipe. If we did one really well and we didn't do the other, which has happened before, that doesn't keep a value exchange healthy. If you focus on one thing and then you just completely pretend like the others don't exist, you're not ever going to get what you want. So in order for us to learn how to take these now motivated people and a different avatar of human who want to show up for themselves, then as a leader, you have to learn how to motivate people. So some of those things are just acting from standards, from reliability, trust, integrity, consistency, something I call careability. So for careability, the way we have to look at things is an accountable relationship is coming to somebody and them saying to me, Jen, I'm going to close 5 deals this quarter. And me saying, that's amazing. Here's 6 things you can do. Let's talk September 31st and see how you did for the quarter. Well, when you come to me on September 31st in this accountable relationship and you tell me that you only closed 3 deals, I can't do anything for you, okay? All I can say is, oh no, you have a gap. It's September 31st. What's Q4 gonna look like? If I operate with you every day as you being your own motivated person and we function from careability, who would like to talk about, Lamont, would you talk about what careability looks like in the Schiff Home team where we really take a stand for the conversations, not just for the end result?
Sure.
Sure, will you stand up and just say, like, what is from a leadership standpoint that conversation, that careability?
Well, I think for me it started, I had a conversation about 2 weeks ago, and I was really just getting clear on your numbers, right? And determine the gap where you are and where you want to be at, and really making sure that was visible. I wasn't visible to that before talking to you on that. Then when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is what it is.
We can do it. And so it's just a good example. Lamont didn't tell me I want to have $15,000 in 60 days, and I said, awesome, how did the $15,000 go? We're looking every day, every week. Careability is where are you now in this process, and what tools and resources and thought leadership and care and perspective can I give you in the moment so that when we get to September 31st, I first know already how many deals you closed when you're having the conversation with me, but you and I ignited change along the way. That is careability. The accountability is, did you do it? Yes, no, oh, well. And careability is, what do you want to do and how can I help you do it every single day so we can get there together. And we bring systems and resources to play for our agents, and these are some of those tools that you're looking for to make it easy. This is our intranet. It's called wearetheshit.com. Wearetheshit.com takes you to the one-stop shop of everything you need, so our agents can't tell us they were lost, they couldn't find it, they didn't know where the training is, they didn't know how to log in. We don't play that game because we know that you guys have to focus on what? Actions that align to your goals, and finding links are not in priority for you. So we try to make that easier. And Scott, would you share a little bit of just how it helps you to streamline things, to not have to think and know where to go? Because I know it's really important for you.
Yeah, I mean, that allows you to just work freely. There's a sense of freedom with it. You know, for me, my head gets in my own way, and if I think about what I have to do next, then it's just going to keep thinking more and not taking action. So it allows me to take more action consistently.
There you go. And then there's the scoreboards, everybody, because who can win a game if you do not know the score? Does anyone know a sport that if we don't know the score, we can't win? We can win? We don't know that. So Michael, where has this shown up, do you think, in the business? Even with us, day one, when we started in 2011, this is our newest scoreboard. So let's share a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially that. I mean, if you don't know the score, if I tell Evan to go step up to the plate, hit the ball, or go run and score some touchdowns, and he goes and runs and scores some touchdowns, he's like, okay, I did that, and I'm like, okay, good, go do it again. So you do it again. He's like, all right, when do I stop? Like, did I get there? Did I achieve it? What's going on? Eventually he's going to get to a point where he's like, all right, why am I running to score touchdowns? Why am I hitting the ball? Having some scoreboard allows Evan and others that have that competitive spirit to be able to see, you know, where their numbers are, to be able to, like, you know, take this scoreboard, take their goals, and incorporate that into a scoreboard, so that it's them against themselves in the sense, with some healthy competition of the team around it, so you can see exactly where you are and why you're playing this game.
The reality is most of us don't want to sabotage ourselves on purpose, do we? Is anyone here showing up every day to sabotage yourself?
No.
We're not. Yet what you're missing is the systems to be able to give yourself the shot at being your best every day. If there's one thing I hope each and every one of you have heard through this, is the fact that all of the people that have stood up here and spoke, they all are using something that's not themselves, their own creativity or their brain, to get incredible results. Yet most of us in this industry are still here thinking that we have to figure something out, that there's some creative element of what we have to do to be successful, that we have some sort of grind ahead of us to figure how to close 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, $30 million. That is very predictable. It may be 10 different ways to do it, and yet there's really no questions. It's just who are you surrounding yourself with, so they can help give you the thought leadership and the direction to do it. These are the pipelines, these are the tools, and being able to really get yourself down through, I can talk about that in a second, get yourself through these different components at the end of the day is at the heart of these results. So I hope it was helpful to see that peek behind the curtain of the Schiff Home team and how the agents inside of our business are being productive and how we've sustained and continue to help others in our team and in the Manifest Network. I would love to hear from you guys just a couple quick ahas. Who could share something that they picked up and learned? And thank you guys for taking the time. And on Zoom, if you're here, if you would drop anything in the comments, and Ashley, you can share it with us, that would be awesome too. Let's hear a couple. Who wants to go first? Do you want to go ahead?
Sure.
Okay.
I would say a couple things I took away. Systems. So leverage, understanding the process, follow up, focus on your CRM, not trying to be creative, finding models, people that are already doing it. Yeah, that's enough.
Smart man. Look at that, Trevor. Love it. Yeah, go ahead.
Like what he said, systems and not what you think you know. You gotta follow people who've been doing it a long time in their career. The biggest thing I've seen is that he said 225 days. So a lot of new people like me thinking that you can just close a deal, but you have to actually follow up, communicate, build relationships.
Yes.
And then let them be able to trust you. Oh, this guy's been talking to me for this many months. He's serious. I'm gonna actually use it when I want to sell my house or try to buy a property. It's huge.
You got it. Oh, the class one. Shaylee, you've been having so much fun back there. Will you share with us a couple of things that you got from it.
So I love the careability. Thank you for mentioning that.
Of course.
Because that's accountability, everybody knows, but just kind of going a step further, that's going 2 steps further.
Yes.
And really caring, that shows. And that builds a strong team. That also builds you as a leader.
Okay.
So that's really good. The second thing that really pops up is meet your marketing where the market is.
Yes.
That really shifted, like, in my head, like 10 clouds. Where I was like, oh, okay, not doing it.
Yeah.
Want to continue, to grow there.
Of course.
There's so much, like the book that you mentioned, the 4X.
Yes, the
Yeah.
4 disciplines of execution, the wildly important
Yes.
goals.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then all the different systems, so I've taken massive notes, but thank you. I mean, yeah, I'm having fun just listening to you put it all together. It's just so refreshing, and yes, thank you for the honesty.
Of course, that's what it's all about. Russ, the realtor, #1. He not only helps buyers and sellers, he helps agents too. Russ, what is one thing that you learned today? No worries, just show up?
Just show up.
Yes, just show up. I love that. How many of us, if we were being honest with ourselves, show up every day? Just ask that to yourself, right? And if you don't, that's your greatest opportunity, because in order to get anywhere, you have to act. All right, 1 or 2 more. Let's go real quick. What is that?
I'll do one.
Yeah.
5 to 12 contacts.
Yes.
It's something I think about almost every day. It takes 5 to 12 contacts, and actually a quick story about my real estate business. Just on the 7th contact with someone, I'll check my email when this is over, but I should have another signed agency agreement for the 7th contact.
7th contact,
But
5
I'll
to
go on
12.
saying that in my brain, and sometimes your brain is a really terrible thing. Because in my brain, after the 3rd contact, they're not getting back in touch with me. You know what my brain is telling me? They don't like you.
Yeah.
They don't want to work with you. But then, on the 7th contact I made today, Shirley says, Patrick, I'm so sorry. I worked 7 days straight. I'm so sorry I didn't get back. So that's my big 5 to 12. Don't ever forget it. And don't ever let your brain tell you things like, people, they don't like me, they don't want to work with me, because it's all lies. Your brain makes
Lies,
up lies.
illusions.
Thank you.
Did we have any ask drop on Zoom? I just want to give someone the opportunity.
We have one that says, memory is the worst way to do business.
Yes! And as you guys know, we are always doing all sorts of fun and exciting things to pour into the education and the betterment of our agents. The one thing personally that I learned over the last 2 years and really the last 12 in our business is there's so many different things you can do. And me personally, I'm known for doing so many different things. And people can judge you, and they can have perspectives of you, and they can say this and they can say that. And sometimes you have to look at yourself and you have to ask yourself, what's the one thing that you do that no matter what anybody ever says, they can't take away from you? And when I had to soul search that over the last few months, what I figured out is the fact that I double businesses. I've been doubling businesses since 2011, starting with Michael, starting with the Schiff Home team. We doubled 5 doors. We went from 750 units to 1,500 units. And since we've come into Manifest and the agents that you've heard today and a lot of the consulting relationships I've had, our systems and our perspective double businesses. So the best thing that I could ever do to be able to give that back to everybody is I actually developed a double your business brainery. Has anyone heard of a brainery before? Oh my God, it's the most exciting thing ever. So a brainery is a place of study or training in a special field. So it's a word that a lot of people don't hear in real estate, so I'm so excited to be able to bring it to the industry. And I'm creating a 12-month program in a brainery for people who really want to go through all of these processes and learn the business. I really look at data a lot, and I found I've consulted over 100 different real estate businesses in the last 2 years, and my average consulting, I have 18 clients who've started working with me and still work with me. All of those clients have doubled their businesses, and I also noticed that the average consulting relationship was for 12 months. So I solved that in 12 months, I can double a business, I can give people the things they need, the systems, the perspective, and the leverage, and so we're gonna bring that in the brainery. If anyone's interested in that, it is gonna be an application process. We are not letting anyone in. It is something that you're gonna have to take seriously, be willing to show up and do the efforts. But if you do wanna apply, you can go to schiffshappen.com, fill out the form, we can go through the application process together, and we're just excited to continue to build this, and we'll do more classes and continue to peek behind the curtains, so we hope this was really fun for all of you guys. It was certainly fun for us. Thank you. Do you want to just let Hal talk for 1 second and then just take a quick picture and eat some lunch?
Yeah, we'll do a picture. I believe, what do we have, lunch, sushi?
Yeah, some sushi.
Sushi and lunch here, compliments of Hal Blatt with Harborside Home Loans. I did want to talk a little bit, just briefly, and not to keep everybody, but give Hal an opportunity to talk. Mainly because we're in the shifted market now. We had some conversations about, what the impact is on the shifted market with rates and everything.
So this is bonus footage, market knowledge for those of you who are on Zoom and want to stay on for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Some nuggets are coming your way.
There's a lot of changes in the marketplace right now, and I thought what better than to have Hal, kind of talk us through some of these updates of what's going on in the marketplace, and ultimately how to effectively use that information to have conversations with our clients.
Yeah, thank you so much. Obviously the question that I get asked all the time, and I'm sure you guys have never once heard it in the last couple months, is rates are high, should I still buy? I think maybe we should hold off before I make application, get pre-approved. I was talking to my husband, I was talking to my wife, it's not a great time to buy, rates are up. Anyone ever heard that?
Yeah.
So,
weeks.
Right, that's been the last quarter, maybe a little longer than that.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking that the truth is this is the time to buy. And this isn't a sales pitch. I'm not a very salesy person. Those of you who know me can verify that. Maybe need to be more salesy than I actually am. If anything, that's my fault. I generally kind of tell people things as they are. But the truth is, the best time to buy a house is in high-rate environment. Yeah, your payment's higher, but guess what? You're going to probably get a better price and better terms than you would have on that purchase if you bought the house versus if you bought the house 6 months ago or a year ago when rates were still at 2.75 or 3.5%.
Right.
And then guess what's going to happen a year from now? There's only two possible outcomes. Do I know for sure the rates are going to go down? I don't. But I do know with complete certainty there's only two possibilities. Either a year from now rates will be up, or a year from now rates will be down. I'd give it a 0% chance that they'll be exactly the same as where they are now. And given that that's the only certainty, is that those are the only two possibilities, if you buy today and rates go up, you'll be glad you bought today before rates went higher. And you won't be thinking, man, I was waiting to see rates go down to buy. Or you buy today, rates go down, then we'll refinance you. And you'll get the house you want at the terms you wanted it for, at a better price, and you'll still end up getting the lower rate and the lower payment. Either way, this is the ideal time to buy. The truth is, the worst time to buy a house is when it's 2.49%, 30-year fixed rate, and everybody on earth is competing, and you got 44 offers on every house you're trying to buy, and you're settling for something you don't really want, and you're waiving your inspections, and you're waiving your appraisal, and you're paying $50,000 over the market. Wow. That's not the time to buy. Now is. Right. Now is. And this is what I'm telling my clients, and usually after this conversation, they're immediately, let's make application, let's move forward. And I think they can tell that it's not a pitch. It's not a pitch, it's the truth.
And that's the overall big picture of what the Fed is doing right now, right? They want to normalize it because what was going on before was not a friendly environment to buy housing. There wasn't enough supply to support that. And had that continued to go on, we would have found ourselves in some really troubling times with housing affordability, right? So it's a necessary of the evil. But as long as we know how to have those conversations of explaining to buyers that if you were to buy when rates were 2.5%, you were taking on so much risk at that time, and now you can buy a house on your terms and in your time and have options and so on, and that's huge. That's a big difference in that point in time. When working with sellers at this time, the Fed made an announcement 2 days ago, right? They're planning on raising rates how many more times this year? At least 2 more times this year, right? When that happens, what's going to happen ultimately with pricing and affordability?
Pricing goes up, affordability.
Yeah, that's right. Say it louder.
Pricing goes up, affordability goes down.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to start seeing that happen. And when affordability goes down, offers are going to be, not as, we still have the comps to rely on from the past 6 months. Those numbers are going to start to change. So just a huge opportunity to use that information to create sense of urgency in today's market. I find that working with Hal, he helps explain that to the buyers. When buyers come to us, they're nervous, not sure what to do. Let's get pre-qualified. Let's at least have that conversation. And sending them over to Hal to have them talk to get pre-qualified. Hal can then begin to explain the difference, especially if they're renting now and they're paying 100% interest. right? What home ownership would, getting a mortgage for, 6%, 6.5%. What do we forecast rates potentially going to?
The answer is who knows? Who knows? I mean, my belief is that at some point they'll come down. But the truth is, this last Fed meeting, we've had triple rate hikes this year. This isn't the first time that they did a 3/4 point rate hike, a triple bump. That wasn't that interesting at all. In fact, I had many clients call me and go, did my rate just go up by 3/4 of a point? No, it moved up a little, but it doesn't necessarily translate because the market's already baked in that we knew that was going to happen. Rates have moved up. The Fed's bumped rates multiple times by 3/4 of a point. It doesn't necessarily translate directly to the mortgage rate. What was more important is that the Fed did forecast that they were going to continue to raise aggressively throughout this year, and more importantly, that they're not projecting the cuts in 2023 that they were originally projecting. Who knows if any of that's true? It's plans, and plans change when the economy changes, and if the unemployment rate goes up and the economy goes into a recession, then the Fed's going to change their plan, and we'll see rate cuts. But maybe we don't see rate cuts next year. Maybe we see them the year after. To me, again, well, listen, Michael knows, he sold me 2 houses. I bought both of them in high-rate environments, and I'm really glad I did, because now I'm living in my dream house. I got it at an absolute steal, and I refinanced, and I also have the best rate from the end of 2020. It's the perfect scenario. So for me, it's not about timing. It's not necessarily about timing the rates. It's about finding the right house, making sure you can afford the payment in the meantime, right? We don't want to put anyone into a payment they can't afford, but affording the payment, focusing on finding the right house that they're going to be happy with, and the odds are very high that at some point we're going to have a chance to refinance you and get you in a lower rate. And you were talking about inflation and rent. What's the one area where we've seen greater inflation in real estate over the last 2 years? Rent. I mean, rent inflation's, depending on what metric you're looking at, rent inflation right now is running even hotter than real estate inflation. So for most clients you're talking to who are worried about transitioning into a high rate mortgage and buying a house because it's the wrong time, not only is it not the wrong time, but your rent's going up at a faster rate than the cost of your house, the house you want to buy is. So if you're comparing it to renting, there's no analysis at all to be done. I think the people who locked in a 2.75% rate 2 years ago that are looking to move now, that's going to be a tough pill for those people as well. It is, and that's a fact, right? Not everyone is going to be a buyer right now, but there's still a lot of people renting. They should be buying. I have no question about I have no doubt when I give that advice that that the people paying that big premium to rent today should be buying.
When the market shifted last time, the reason why we did so well is when we started targeting investors and working with investors who targeted first-time home buyers. And those were the folks that were able to buy at that time. And these were houses, $150,000 to $200,000 at that time was our sweet spot. And we sold 200, 300 houses a year by targeting investors for that. I see that market coming back. I see there's more opportunity for investors, and prices have gone up. That's probably $200,000 to $300,000 price range right now. But that's a huge opportunity when you think about, what can you do with your efforts and your lead generation? Are you going to target the people that just bought a house, or are you going to target, potential investors, opportunities, first-time home buyers to build your business?
Absolutely, absolutely. Look, people are still moving. Hey, we had some slow times at the end of August, but I've gotten 3-4 contracts in each week in September. There are people relocating for work. There's people whose families are growing. There's first-time home buyers. People aren't going to stop buying houses and let everyone else go to bed and take their market share.
Yeah,
that's what we say every day. Let everyone else go to bed, grab their share.
Quick question, if I could.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere that the application rate went up from last month. Is that correct?
I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see that data. I have felt like September has been a shocking reversal of what August felt like we were transitioning into, and people are buying. Refi applications are done, for the most part, but people are buying homes. They really are. Maybe instead of seeing 5 million transactions this year, the country will see 4. People are still going to buy houses. People are still having kids. Families are still growing. People are still moving for work. And there's still renters who are getting ready to buy.
Cool.
So.
Yeah. All right. Was this helpful?
Yeah.
All right. Great job, guys. All right. We're going to take a for? You want to do a picture outside? Do a picture outside, we'll get some food. Thank you guys on Zoom, appreciate y'all.